All right. And all right. All right. Okay, where's my Twitch stream? Here it is. Ooh. And are we live? We're live on Twitch. Here we go. All right, we're live on Twitch. Are we live on YouTube? I think we're live on YouTube. And there we go. Sweet. Now we just need to get the preview over here. All right, so let me check I'm in the right branch, master. Yeah, so we were looking into the wonderful world of FPuzzle's coordinates. And as you can see in FPuzzles, you can position things like that. And I'm guessing these are positioned with cosmetic tool circles. Border corner outside. Auto cell border corner. So I guess corner. So I think purple has then gone in here and edited these manually. 4 cells. Okay, and that's the one that I just placed, I'm guessing. Why does this one have 7 and this one has 6 properties? Value base, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't have a value. Okay, so this will have 4. So by adding more elements to the cells, he kind of smooshed the positioning around, and apparently it just averages them. When I first saw that in the import, I had no idea what to do with that, so I just sort of ignored it and just used the first coordinate. So that's probably something we need to fix. All right, and let's hope we can fix it in a singular place. So let's see. So these aren't managed under circle. There it is. Get part center. And get part center does what? Get part center. Okay, so let's just see what that looks like. All right. So part.cell is a string. Then it just FPuzzles parses it. If it's an array and the length is greater than 0... Oh, wait. What am I doing? I'm not averaging them. I'm calculating the center of gravity, basically. I'm calculating the min-max and then taking the center of the min-max instead of adding, quote-unquote, all the positions together. Okay. So, let's see what that looks like. Min-max. And then here, can we do part.cells? Why am I assigning... 1 second. Oh, okay. Right. It first offsets them to okay, because my RC system works not from the center but from the upper left corner of each cell. And then RC min-maxing gets the minimum and the maximum. Okay. Hey, Frank. Hey, Memrister. How are you guys doing? Is purple in here too? Yeah, all right. So basically what I was doing apparently is I was calculating the minimum and maximum and then taking the center of that. So if you're adding multiple cells, it won't move it around. Should be a relatively easy fix. So first of all, let's have a look what the cells actually look like. Then we're going to convert them to numbers, and then we just average the numbers, okay? So if we do this, and then we do this, we don't actually need that, then that should convert it to numbers, right? And then we can do that. That gets us the actual position of the center of each cell. All right, and then we just add them up, right? So we probably, wait, this is get part center. So we, like RC is that's being used elsewhere. It is. I'm just seeing if there's something I can use or I can get rid of. No, okay. All right, I get it. So, all right, take the RC strings, convert them to RC numbers, add half a cell to each one. And now we want to reduce them to an average. I always, every single time to this day, this function came about after my time when I easily remembered things. So now I always have to look things up, right? So we're gonna get an RC array here. So we're gonna just do this. We're gonna have, do we want to unwrap and then rewrap them each time? Yeah, it's fine. Then we call them MR and MC for the mid values, and then RC for the new values. And then we need index. Actually, we don't need it. And we need array. Does it not return length? Dot reduce args console.log args. So we have, it's not the current value. The previous value is undefined, even though undefined. Pass in a 1. Oh yeah, okay. So we're passing in the array, then the first element, then the index, and then the array. Okay. So if I divide it by array.length, so if I say return an array of mr plus r divided by, I mean, this is super, oh, could we just do this? Maybe we can. I mean, this is super inefficient because we could just add them up and then divide in the end, and this is probably a stupid idea. But, you know, you're not the boss of me. Can't make me. Right? So that should give us the average position of each of these. And then we brought, hey, Tristan. Memrister purple. Are you? I'm pretty sure you have Memrister on Discord as well. There's a Memrister on Discord. Are there shenanigans afoot? Oh wait, I don't find a Memrister on Discord. Never mind. No shenanigans. How are you doing, Tristan? So, I want to round these. Okay, I'm gonna. This is silliness. I'll do it in a single line JavaScript, but that's just stupid. So, what we really want to do is we want to just sum them up. Right. We don't need to divide them and do all the other stuff. We'll just do that. And then we can just do this. Let RC sum goes this. And we could probably get rid of these two as well. We don't have to loop, because this is basically looping through the array 3 times, right? That's a little silly. A little silly. So instead of looping through it 3 times like this, we can just do something like this. RC, right? Then, whoops. Then this will get us an RC array. Offset RC will add to that array. Except now we won't do that. We'll just do this. And we can do let mr mc equals this. And then we can do return mr plus r plus 0.5 plus c plus 0.5. So we get rid of that call as well. Right. Oh, wait. Sorry. We could use offset RC here. So this returns an RC array, and we can pass that into offset RC. And then we can treat our R and C's as an offset like this, as a static offset for this round. Right? It's like this. Like this, then we don't need that. We can just return it like that. Don't need that. And then that should give us an RC sum. And then we should be able to do this. Do we not have access to the RC object here? I need to pull that out into a separate file because I always have to look for it. We have RC, but that uses R and R.C. not arrays. To array, can convert it to an array. I need to do like a generic thing, an RC class that doesn't care if you pass in an array and it's just smart about it and all that sort of thing. But for today, that would be overkill and silly. So let's not do that. And I'm guessing you're setting puzzles as Memristor. So is this an exclusive preview on upcoming Memristor magic? Because now we have to do this. And len would be parts.cells. And we're just going to destruct. So if, wait, mr, what was mr? Mid, no. sum, SRSC. Let's call them sums, right? And cells. Part.cell. So we could do something like const equals part. Then we can just get rid of that. Get rid of that. Do that. That. And where was I? What am I doing? I lost track. Ah, yes, SRSC. And now these can be, let's just do this. Right. And then we can do math.round. Ah, wait, do we want to round though? We don't want to round. We want to fixed round. I wish there was a simpler thing to do. Anyway, so that's SR divided by len times 100. I think 2 decimal places is a plenty. And then divided by 100. RC. All right, let's see. Does that do the trick? Nope, it blows up. rc.match is not a thing. Did I do something wrong here? Let's see. Cells. We have 5 cells. Area reduce 459. Cells.length. RC. RC. Dot match is not a function. So RC should be the things we want to parse. Previous value. Oh, wait, no. Previous value would be this. I got them the wrong way around. All right. Cover these clues. Yeah. No, because I just want to, like, before there would, because of floating point errors, it would hit like 9.9999991 or something. So I just want to trim those off, so I don't have extra large JSON data and all that stuff. And when I debug later on, it just spews all over the place. All right, so 0.3, 1.3 is the final tally. And that's basically what we want to return, right? So do that. I want to actually keep that there for now. So this is what we want to return. And I think it's a returning an array, because that's a sensible kind of coordinate. All right, that looks better. Can you send me a link to the other one as well, so I can double check? All right, let's clean this up. Can do this now. We really need this. Do we even need part? I think, didn't you show me 2 puzzles, 2 different ones in chat? Yeah, there was one with cages and one without cages. I mean, you sent me a second link, but I don't think that was the one without cages. Let me just try. No, the second link, you just made a CTC version of it. Do you have the second puzzle? Just so I can double check, you know, make sure it works on in both cases. All right, let's make this bigger just so we can take a closer look. The positioning seems to be correct as far as I can tell. The font and the text is a bit different, but I don't think FPuzzles actually provides any styling for those. Yeah, let me take a look at that, because I don't know how SudokuLab translates it. So I think SudokuLab has a translation to both FPuzzles. Oh, okay. How does that translate to CTC? Okay. That's not great. Type error. Part.value is not a... Oh, is that... let me see. 844. We don't want to have incompatible stuff, right? Part.value. Part.value that replaces not a function. Huh? Well, but if I can fix it, why not, right? Since I'm poking around in this code anyways. So value. You see, for example, here, it presumes, because FPuzzles always exports strings, but SudokuLab apparently exports numbers, and I'd like to be able to support numbers. So it makes sense for me to do this. And if I have a similar something elsewhere, dot replace a dot replace fix fpuzzle slashes placements sort by number. Oh no, that's fine. Part dot value. All right. Look at that. It's alive. But whatever SudokuLab is doing to trying to export it to our format, it is not doing the same thing that FPuzzles would be doing. So in other words, it doesn't know how to export to FPuzzle and uses FPuzzle export to CTC. So the question is, yeah, you see, it doesn't export the positions correctly. It outputs the text with just basic, like not multiple values. To be honest, I don't know much about, yeah, you see the coordinates it gives here are some other coordinate system. I don't know exactly what so I think it's probably 64 by 64 per cell, right? So if I did this 32, 32, no. If I put this at 64, 64, no. So it's 100 by 100 cell? All right. The problem is, if it would pass these numbers through, I could do something with them. But unfortunately, it mangles them. I'm looking at the wrong thing. It mangles the data, so nothing arrives on my end that I can actually do something with. That's a pity. I mean, even if, you know, I could detect that, like if they put if they put that information into the JSON that they're passing through in the FPuzzles export. But hopefully with my editor, all of that stuff will be, yeah. Well, CTC, oh, my app uses 64 by 64 pixels per cell, so that's probably weirder. I cloned way too much from Sam Kappelman-Line's original software. All right, so I cannot test that, sadly. But I guess you're probably happy enough with just setting it with fpuzzles. Okay, so let's have a look what I did. If I can clean it up. 9, 10. Now, obviously, this will only be available in the test version, although I am hoping to put that into production fairly soon, since there's a lot of stuff in there people are waiting for. All right, so we fixed that, but obviously that's just a minor thing. 450, we go back up there. Is there anything we can remove here? Anything we can make simpler? Get parts center, so that's the only thing we touched, right? Wait. No, here. Okay. So if cells is an array. I mean, we could destructure this here. But then, yeah, okay. No, this is fine. This is fine. If cell equals string, yeah, okay. Cells that reduce. All right. I'm just taking a look. Sorry if it's a bit small. I made it smaller earlier. The streams, I think I need to have the text a bit larger. I feel uncomfortable having this out here on the side because it's easy to miss that it's even there. I think this is about as simple as I can make it. And this doesn't round it to the nearest full cell, but the nearest 100th of a cell, which I think is close enough. I mean, what if I don't do this here? What if I did replace these with ones? What? No. Wait. Let me not do a lot of extra work. What if I get rid of the rounding? How bad is it? I'd like to know. So if I just do this, we actually have to output this. Why am I looking at my microphone here? We do this. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's just, I think, because I was dividing each individual one and adding the divided parts up, that's when the rounding errors crept in. So this is probably good enough. And I mean, it'll still be accurate by JavaScript standards, so we can get rid of that rounding stuff. All right. So I hate throwing away information. Yeah, but I don't think memory is really... especially since it allows fractional values, right? So it doesn't really... But it's a sensible enough number. Like, you don't need 100 subdivisions. Like, it's very unlikely a cell is ever going to be larger than 64 by 64 pixels. So, and you can still have fractional subdivisions of those as well. So it's kind of arbitrary. It's really just adopted from CTC. So I didn't have to recalculate. The problem is now the render is based on it as well. So it's a bit it'll be a bit of a pain in the ass if I want to purge the whole thing. And I like to work at higher resolutions in vectors, so you can get rid of all the floating point dots in path data on SVG, right? Rather than having, let's say you could have the unit 1 being the board, for example, work in fractions of the board, or being a cell, work in fractions of the cell. But then you have a lot of extra fractional dots everywhere. While if you subdivide, you can mostly get rid of them. Okie dokie. So I think that's all we need, right? Let me double check. Looks fine. And you're gonna get your first credit into the app, if you don't mind. You want to be credited as Memristor or as Purple? Unless I have you in here already. No? No? Purple. Improved puzzles. Import for fractional positions. And we're going to bump this. Like this. Then we're going to minify this. This is the only file I'm minifying, and I'm still minifying it manually. Yay. Automate nothing. Don't even know if the minification does much, to be honest. Let's have a look. It halves it, 15K. I think the whole site is like a megabyte of JavaScript alone, so it's probably... You're fine with Memristar Purple being associated with each other? Like this? Oh, and nowadays that also goes onto the special thanks page. And while I'm here, wait, let me see. I got a message from Patreon today. I got a reply. Not everybody replies to my messages on Patreon. But Lud replied and gave me permission to add him to the Patreon support list as Lud here. And now we're going to add you. And for now, you're going to get to the bottom of the list. But, you know, if you keep contributing in some way, you're going to move up the list for sure. If you so care to. There we go. And that should now be under special thanks as well. So we have Lud in here, and we have Memristar. Here we go. Great. And now we can switch back to... where were we? We can switch back to the minified version here. That should be saved. Let me close everything, make sure it's really saved. All right, and test, make sure it doesn't blow up. Let me just play something quickly. Something simple. Let me use my little Sudoku plugin here. Not plugin. My little converter. I like to just run a quick test, just to smoke test it, make sure it doesn't just blow up instantly, you know. I need to put this here. It's actually a boring game. Let's do this one. Something like this. See, let's see if we can do this, solve this quickly and make sure. Wait, let me also check that the new features hide support links off. Okay, hide already solved. On conflict checker large digits off. No, it's on. And letter tool. High timer dash grid check and finish. By the way, you should stick around because now I'm gonna go back to working on the editor. Well, my application doesn't really, I mean, it's not optimized by any stretch, but it doesn't do anything really crazy in the background, right? And it's a static image. I do tell you though that my SVG renderer, I've never had like let me stop and design this how it should be. You know, I just sort of, let me quickly prototype this and let me add to this prototype until it does all the things. So it is it's far from being quality code. But one thing I have to say, oh yeah, there was a time, I tested it once, if I selected everything and then filled everything in like that and like that, you could get the whole thing down to about 15 seconds per update. So it took 15 seconds to do one render. And the reason for that was I was using an SVG filter to do outlines, and apparently they are really not optimized. And all those digits, each one is its own element. So with that many elements, apparently, it just couldn't handle it. It just blew up. So there can't be a 3 here or here. Can there be a 3 here? Yes, but that means there can't be a 3 here. Doesn't help us. 4s, 5s. But other than that, it's a static renderer, right? Like, so there isn't anything ongoing, any animation or anything like that. Which is one of the problems that FPuzzles has, because FPuzzles continuously re-renders the page. All right, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I'd appreciate that. I used to use the old, before my app went live, basically, I often would use the old CTC app and even the Studio Goya apps. And to be fair, it was on my previous phone. And if I had a long session in the bathroom, my battery would almost be finished by the time I'd go get through a puzzle. One of the reasons I also wanted to make sure that my app doesn't do that. All right, no 6s here, so 6 here, here, and here. And 7. I'm just quickly playing through one game to make sure. I also want to see the end of game dialogue, make sure that that's working, because I want to bring that live soon. I think it's about time. So, since somebody told me they didn't know that I had a Patreon, I realized it's maybe about time that I let people know a bit more about what I do and you know, try to get myself sorted. So tempted to fill these in, but my limit is 4. If there's only 4 options, then I fill them in. 5, I try not to. I try to resist. So these can't be 1s, right? Now we're taking 1 out of there. Okay. 2s, nope. 3s, any easy wins. Already know that one isn't a 3. 4s, nada, nada, nada. 5s. 5s are getting a bit limited. In fact, that's a 5. That means that's a 5. That makes that's a 5. Now we're basically done with the 5s. Right? Yep. So 5 is done. Okay, now we have 3 here. Those I can mark. It's allowed. 2, 4, 7. So 4 is here. 2, 7. 2, 7. Yeah. Also, I'm not using any kind of optimization, automated technology and stuff. So it's kind of important that it's relatively small, because I'm not minifying or anything. And it's already really bulky. There's a lot of code in there that I'm not using. So there's definitely improvements to be made. But yeah, I'm also a little old school. Back in my day, you know. Back in my day. 640 kilobytes needed to keep all your graphics in memory. All right. 4. All right, I'm just flailing here. 2s. 2s are... Oh, wait. Why is this the 3 limit to here? Ah, because that... Okay. That means that's an 8. That's a 9. That's not a 9. So 3 is now here, here, and here. Not here. Oop. All right, 3s are almost on 8s. So we have an 8 in one of these 2. Other than that, no. Okay, 1, 2, 7, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. And this is a 2, 4, 7. Yeah, I'm definitely no Simon and Mark when it comes to making puzzle solving entertaining. But, you know, they're doing a great job. We don't need another one of those. 7, 4, and this should be a 9. Here we go. 2, 8. That's also a 2, 8. 4, 7, 8. Wow. These are all 4, 7, 8s. That's not a 7. Okay. That's a 4 or a 9. And that's the 4. That's the 9. That's not the 4. These two are 7 or 8. 2, 7, 8. 2, 7, 8. All right. What do we have on this diagonal? 6, 2, 7, 8 as well. That's not an 8. In fact, the 8s look like they should be somewhat contained now. Nope, they're still all over the place. 9s. Ah, that can't be a 9. So that's a 9. That's an 8. It's not an 8. These aren't 8s. And now this is a 2, 7, or 8. And that's not a 7. So these are 2, 3, or 8. Okay. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 3, 4, 8. Not a 3, not an 8. Okay. 2, 7, 2, 4. Something feels fishy around here. This can't be a 4. So that's a 3, 4 pair. And one of these is the 4. Let me see, 4s. Huh. Alright. Don't know why the 4's befuddling me. Oops. Oh dear. Thankfully, the Festomophyll ring has been used so many times now. That can't be a 2. That I kind of learned it by rote. I don't really have to understand it anymore. I just know it. Because Simon has used it so many times now. Ah, this can't be a 3. That's... I thought that it was looking a bit crowded down here. Alright, so that's 2, 4, 7. Then these are 2, 7, 9. Ah, that can't be a 9. So, are we done with the 9s now? Yes. Done with the 8s? Not yet. But we only have 1 8, space for an 8 left here. So that's a 7, 8, 7, 2. And that's a 2, 7, 2, 7, 7, 4, 2, 4, 8, 7, 8, 3, 2, 4, 3, and 4. And these are the new links. So we have the new feature of copying the time to the clipboard. And we have support links. Wait. Yeah, it's just, I was checking. Sweet. All right. I think that's good enough for my level. Make sure we're on the right branch. And I'm just going to use the line that I wrote here. Right. All right. Then we run update puzzles just to make sure. And then basically this goes out the door for testing. And normally I would also want to play a puzzle on the server once it's live, just to make sure I didn't bring the puzzle server down or something. Well, I mean, the basic proof you can just do via set, right? Hey, come on. All right, make sure everything is clean. Deploy it. I'm in the right folder, yes. Let's deploy that. I mean, the basic proof via set should just be... how does it go, actually? Wait. I was gonna say, oh, you know, it's just this and this and this. But, oh yeah, no, I think it's this. So we take the 4 sets of 1 through 9 here, and then we'll take these 4 sets of 1 through 9 here, right? And then we remove these, which are in both. Oop, there's no one here. Then we remove all of these, which are once in each set, in each group. And now these are once in blue and twice in orange. So we just remove, we remove one blue and one orange, and we're left with one orange. I mean, that's really, for me, that's the quickest and simplest quote unquote proof. I mean, all right, so that's done. Now we're deploying to the new test server as well while we're here. And now we can switch to our editor branch after the deployment. Otherwise the deploy will fail. Okay. All super manual around here. And I think we're going to merge master in as well. I just merged. Time to merge again. Merge early, merge often. Oops. I pressed Control C. I hope I didn't screw something. All right. And that still seems to work. So now we can go to the editor. Ah, yes. And what were we doing yesterday? Yesterday we were looking at generalizing the hover system, and we wanted to move to the overlays. So let's get back to that. So I did a rename, so we kind of have inspectors and components now, which is kind of very Unity 3D-ish, very familiar to many game devs. And we started working on a second editor, basically to figure out what editors have in common, what's different, and so on, and what's complex. Now the overlays are a little complicated because it's like an arbitrary element, right? It's in the original editor, the overlay is, I mean, it's basically a square of a size at a position that can have rounded corners and text on it with a background and a border. So it's really just a rectangle or a circle. The problem is there's a lot of fuffing about with like special cases, and like there's a bunch of sort of kind of bugs in this software, in Sam's original software, which I had to replicate because I wanted to be able to, import all the existing CTC puzzles, right? So I had to replicate the bugs, otherwise the puzzles wouldn't work, right? Oh, feature request from Izzy. Did you edit the title and or description on imported puzzle? I can't remember, it might be disabled for imported puzzle if you want to keep. No, that's definitely, but now that I'm working on the editor will have all of that, right? So I don't think I'm going to add these sort of secondary things. I mean, I had a description field. I mean, I'm guessing you're talking about SudokuPad. If Izzy is in the chat, by the way, because is Izzy in the chat? Izzy was here earlier. I thought I saw, yeah, here we go. Well, can reference the stream later. But yeah, the editor will obviously have that kind of thing. Ah, yeah, you see these are being highlighted, right? So the idea was, can I detect where they are? And that was actually kind of complicated because I didn't know what they would look like. So the idea would be, I had a piece of data from the puzzle, this definition, right? I had some puzzle definition and I needed to match it to a specific element on the SVG. And it wasn't entirely clear of exactly how that puzzle data translated to an SVG element. But ultimately, I decided I'm actually going to export some of the rendering stuff. Hey, Izzy. Yeah. So basically, this editor will allow all that. But I'm guessing you're referencing SudokuPad with that suggestion. All right, overlay inspector. So we're loading in the data, we're adding components, and the components need to figure out where they are, right? And basically, this is what I was working on, get elements. So this was a lot of code that I created and threw away. But basically what it does is it actually pulls all the children, all the elements out of the SVG. Then it renders itself again. Then it looks through that list for elements that weren't there before, knows that those are the new elements that got rendered, removes those elements again, and then use those elements to match against the other elements to find the original ones, right? Because we don't want to mess with the order of rendering, because this element might have been rendered in a different order, or there might be something else we're missing, right? And now the second step I'm working on was to basically generalize the hovering, right? So to hover, we need to know if the mouse cursor is above the element. And for the cages, it works different than for these things. So each kind of element needs to know how to, if the cursor is above them or not, right? And I think that's kind of what I was working on. Now I have to find, actually is hit here. It's telling me it's line 602. So what we basically need to do is we need to move, that doesn't make sense, 600 and, here we go. So get input component on the inspector. It basically returns the current A component under the cursor. And this way we can, So there's two things we can do. Here, we're leaving it up to the inspector. But we could also have each component itself just simply say, I'm hit or not. For a specific position, right? And the position would probably be board relative. Because what most of this code does, it translates mouse positions to board positions. And now that I'm saying it out loud, yesterday I was very tired when I was doing this, I must have written this code before. So let's take a look. There must be some general basic utility function somewhere here that translates mouse coordinates to board coordinates. Let me think. When I'm moving the mouse, we're in event handler territory, and there must be something here. Did input move, special input input down, input move, position touches. I'm just looking for a piece of code somewhere maybe that translates a mouse position to a cell or something like that, and see if I have XY to RC. I think it's this. Where is it? I think this is the code that we're looking for. Whoops. Get down there. Get down there. Yeah, so you're talking about SudokuPad, right? So basically, to be able to edit these. Didn't I have an edit button here? I thought there was a way of editing the... I thought there was a way of editing the notes. Or is that only for puzzles you created yourself? One sec. If I create a puzzle here, then go back to the listing. Yeah, so you can currently only edit puzzles you've created yourself, and you can only change it when you're saving it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this editor will make it into the app. So then, yeah, that should sort it out. All right, so let's find where is hit is getting called. 602 is hit. So instead of doing all of this, I want to do this. So we have mx and y. And y. And now we will also output this. And this lives on app, right? Now, I don't know if that works on the raw positions. to XY to RC. Input pause. This should work directly on input pause. So all of this code was completely for nothing. Or not. Huh. Wait a second. One second. Position 89, MX, MY is negative. XY to exact is column negative 2. Oh, because it's row column relative. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. It's converting it to row column. Now, 1 second. All right, so we could get it to XY positions by multiplying it by cell, whatever, width, height. So we can do this and let RC equals this, and then let SVG XY equals RC dot column now, because we're converting X and Y to Y and X, and then back again, all that sort of thing. Times, whoop, that's not times, SVG renderer dot cell, whatever. Oh, I'm actually just using the width and height of a cell. There. I think cell size is probably good enough here. RC.R. So now those should be relatively close, right? Negatives 521919 Yeah, so this is exactly what I'm using here. So the MX, MY stuff. So we can just say, we can just do this, exact. Plus RC. So we're converting it to RC equals that. And then let MX equals parse RC to this. And then we'll do the same thing for the Y coordinate based on the rows. And now we can just get rid of this, and this. Get rid of this. Do we need this anymore? Don't think so. We can get rid of all of that. Not all of that. We can get rid of all of that. That's what happens when you work late at night. Just send me a message on Discord. Either post it in the channel or just a direct message, and I'll add it to the board, and then you can vote there. But make sure that the request isn't already there. All right, or add it as a comment on the chat. I'll get YouTube comments. I should be able to get those as well. Okay, so we should have less spam now. Yeah, and ishit works now. Okay, so that got rid of half a page of code. That's nice. So instead of this, we probably want to add a and I guess it makes sense to accept RC coordinates for hit checks, right? So we probably want to do something like, and we can do that in the base component, basically. So if we go to component inspector component, we can do something like p.rc hit test function rc something like that. And then we can, yeah, I was expecting another copy of this down here. Overlay inspector get input component, right? So then we can do this. We can just do this. XY is R. Like that. And then we can do this. Basically. So we can do let elements equals set elements is hit false, get bddd rip. Don't need the m thing anymore. And then we can just return as hit, I think. And we'll just do component dot rc hit test, and we're going to use pause rc, and we're just going to accept something like this. Boom. Let's see if that works. False, false. Uh-oh. Ah, true, true, false, false. Wait. Oh, because I was wondering why it doesn't show the true, true there. It's probably because it's doing this so often that it was still catching up. True, true, false, false. All right, the point is they're always the same. So instead of doing this here, we can just now do this. And then technically, we can do the same thing for the other guys. We don't need this anymore. And we can just do this. Ah, we don't even need this anymore now. Components we do need. And we can move this there. Let's give this a reasonable name. So now we have a hit test for an arbitrary position on this element, on this component. Wait, no. On all components. That's not what I want, actually. We're gonna override this in the overlay component. Overlay component, get elements, RC hit test. And here we're actually, I mean, that's actually a reasonable way of doing an RC hit test. But I don't think I want to implement like a default like this. RC. We're going to do error because we should not see this. I'm just going to return false. So that should still work. Sweet. Because now this get input component is starting to get more and more generic. So let's have a look at the cage one. Now the problem is I currently don't have the cage inspector loaded. Let's switch to it. I'm worried that I've broken a couple of things, but it might be worth making them work again. I think it's happening here. Yeah. All right, let's see what I've broken so far. Bow. All right. Cage component apply style. Feature request. Add the ability to list the cracking the cryptic puzzles in the app rather than... Well, that's actually a feature-ish. I don't know if it's in the list. I mean, this is obviously a bigger feature, but what I want to do is... I want to do... I haven't come up with a snazzy name yet, but basically publishing channels, right? So the idea is that, similar to YouTube channels, you're gonna have puzzle setters, or anybody can create a channel and publish puzzles to it, and you can subscribe to a channel. So that ideally the channels would be from the puzzle setters, like a Fistomophile channel, right? But it could also be a YouTuber. So let's say Ranks, if he gets permissions from all the setters, could have a Ranks channel, and same with Cracking the Cryptic, they can have a Cracking the Cryptic channel, and they can publish all the puzzles of their YouTube videos into that channel, and then you can just subscribe to the channel. And I've long been saying that I'm going to have folders, but this is basically a kind of folder, except that the folder will magically update, right? It'll just pull data from a server. So that's definitely something I've been thinking about for quite a while, and I think that'll be sort of the killer feature, because I think discoverability right now is a big issue. You know, I've heard a lot of good setters working hard on a lot of puzzles, and then they didn't get lucky and Cracking the Cryptic didn't show them, and now nobody knows those puzzles exist, right? So like I'd like to have something that's not like, because we have a lot of problems at the moment with things like, okay, we have a Discord archive. Like if you're new to Sudokus and you join today, there's a massive archive of thousands of puzzles that are basically inaccessible because they're so far back in time. But the puzzles don't change, or they're not out of date or anything like that, you know? And I know there's places like Logic Masters Germany and so on, but I think having something that's easily accessible at a high sort of, like, where you don't have to be sort of an insider to the community, you know, where you can just, you know, you buy the app and it's just there, you know, something like that, easy discoverability, right? And then over time, obviously improve it, you know, voting and all that stuff. You know, hey, I want to get all puzzles that have Knights rules in it, you know? And in fact, on a previous stream, I started working on some code that can read the rules, the rules text, and figure out certain aspects of the puzzle from that. Because all the CTC puzzles, you know, all the anti-Knight CTC puzzles, the puzzles themselves don't know they're anti-Knight, right? And the older puzzles don't even have rules in the puzzle. But I might be able to go back through the YouTube videos, get the rules out of there, and then parse them to figure out, oh, these are anti-Knight, you know, and then you should be able to click a button and say, get me all the anti-Knight puzzles or whatever, you know? That sort of thing. Okay, so the cages right now, so it's using, it has a problem in apply style. Okay, so let's look at the cage component and apply style. So we're right in here. And properties of undefined apply style 382. Cage borders, style name. Apply style, style name, yada, yada, yada. Apply style, style name undefined. Apply, oh, wait a second. Yeah, I think, because this is in the base class, right? So in the base component, there's apply style twice. Well, that's not good. Oh, that's broken. So this just sets the style, including resetting it to the current style of the component. So instead of using style name here, we should be using current style. And that makes it work. All right. So component inspector.add component UI. Component inspector, add component to UI, and add component. Let's get rid of these. Get rid of the spam. All right. So now we have the hover here, but that is the sort of custom method. Now let's see if we can make this work in a more generic way. So we have a method get input component on the cage inspector, and it does all of, well, it doesn't do a lot of stuff, but let's have a look where this is being used. And now let's implement the isHit method that I've just built for the overlay component. So we have an RC hit test, right? And then we have a cage component. And I think this was before these kind of apply spot. Yeah, I need to categorize these better. So let's see, RC hit test, cage component. Do this. Log it out in the base component, which is already being done. Okay. And now, GGG, cage get input component. So get in component, where is this being called from? Get input component. Get input component is called from handle input move, and that's actually happening in the inspector, the base inspector. Set hover get input component. Okay, and in our overlay inspector, get input component basically does this. Yeah. So app is used, SVG render is not used, input position is used, components is used here. All right, this is actually not how it works. This is basically just us testing. Okay, good. And get cage from cell here does what? Components.find cage cells included. Okay, so instead of this, we can do return this find, comp, then comp dot RC hit test, right? And we have to do this as well. So we have to get the input position from the app, and we have to convert it to RC. And then we need to do this. Boom. Okay. So that fires off this stuff. Cage cells include cell, get input cell. Where's get input cell? Get input cell component inspector. So we're doing all of this here. And in the cage component, RC hit test. So this is where we're ending up, right? RC hit test, right? We have RC values. Grid, puzzle grid get cell. So that gets us a cell. And then we need to know if the cell is in this component, I'm guessing. Cage inspector, get input component, get input cell, cage from cell, cage dot cells include cell. Cage monitor. All right. Let cell equals this. I think that should do the trick, right? Cell, and then this dot cells dot include cell. False. false, 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 false. Not a single one of these is happy. All right. Get cell RC. Is get cell, I think, only accepts round RC values. Yeah. So that should do the trick. Yeah, and then false. Include cell. True. All right. So then we can just return this. Right? The rest here doesn't matter. Let's call this something distinctive. Hit cell. Okay. And bada bing, bada boom. And now we've removed the necessity for all this stuff. So is that used anywhere else? No. Get rid of it. Get input cell. Is that used anywhere else? One other place. Here. Fair enough. All right. So now the get input component stuff, where's that being called from actually? Get input move forward event. So this function now should actually be quite generic, right? Let me think. Get input component here. Is that not basically the identical thing now? Comp. It should be, yeah. Because the only reason it's different here is because we're doing some special shenanigans, right? Okay. So this can now move into the inspector component. Get input component. Get input component. An inspector. Get input component. Return. Yep. That's all generic now. So we don't need those anymore at all in these subclasses. And that's how you want to do it. You want to move everything up a level. Now it will break here because we don't know yet how to change the styling. But other than that, boom, 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 boom. And that means even hovering is now... Yeah, this is empty here now. It's overlay inspector. Ah, wait, no. So get cage value cell. Get cage value cell. Is that something that should be on the cage, maybe? Okay, I don't think this is being used anymore. Okay, this is not being called, but this is certainly being used elsewhere. Editable cage. Editable cage. Isn't editable cage completely deprecated now? And section, all these things are completely deprecated, right? All these things are deprecato. Okay. Where is this function being used? Get cage value on the cage component. Okay, so that's already on the component. Okay, that's gone. Update inspector. Okay. Handle input down. Yeah, all right. So now we're actually limiting the inspector to doing the things that are custom to this particular kind of component. Okay. Okay, so one issue I'm gonna have is obviously the styling, because not everything lends itself to be easily restyled. The cages already had a styling system in them, but obviously arbitrary objects in the SVG do not. All right, let's put back the overlay inspector, get rid of the cage inspector. Okay, 559. Overlay inspector, load puzzle data. Get elements. Okay. Yeah, I didn't actually completely clean this up. The one thing we couldn't do here is kind of pass in. All right. I wanted a generic method that finds elements in the SVG. And it basically needed this, right? So to do that, we basically have to pass in the function to call, sadly. Because I don't think I can derive that right now from the properties, but it would be nice if I could in the future. And we could potentially put this on the cage component, right? So in get elements... Not cage component, what am I saying? In the base component. Component. Get elements, right? So there is something to be said about labeling them, because it can return an arbitrary list of elements. But, for example, some component in the future might be made out of 3 rects, right? And we don't know which is which. Like, they're not sorted in any kind of way or labeled. So let me just encapsulate this for a sec here. So component, get create element, destroy element. This is like super generic. So what are we gonna call it? P dot find SVG elements. And this is a function that's going to take a bunch of stuff. Well, primarily props. And do we actually need the props here? No. All we really need is this call, right? Create part. Part creator. We're just going to pass a function in called part creator. That's like super specific, right? And the part creator is going to be a function that creates the part for us. So here we're just going to call the part creator function, right? None of this actually makes any sense, whatever. So elem.remove find elem. Okay, so let elem turn elements. Then there's none of this. We need SVG render. Do we need the app for anything? No. So we're just gonna simplify this. Do we need the SVG render for anything else? Not really. So we can actually just do this. There's no point pulling that out. So first we're getting all the parts, then we call the part creator function, then we get again all the parts, then we find the intersection, no, the difference between these two lists. This we no longer need. And find elem. So for each of the elements in the remaining list, we try to match it up in the original list, right? And we're simply going through the reference attributes, which are in the element we created initially. So we just loop through all the attributes in the created element and make sure we find an element that matches them all. And that's it. It's not super simple, and it's hella inefficient, but it's also not something we have to do very often. All right, let's see if we can make use of this. So we should be using it here. So let elms equals this. Let's find SVG elms, and our creator function is this. So that's this dot props, and that's framework dot app dot yada yada yada. Let's just give this a unique name for a sec, and then output it here and compare it to elms here and see what that looks like. So that would be our underscore elms, and these should be identical. And it looks like they are. So then we can just do this dot elms equals, and we can just return that, and that's it. That's all of it. That replaces the whole thing. Okay. And now we're gonna retrofit this into, and the only thing that's really gonna be different from one kind of element to another is that one, hopefully. Unless it's like a weird thing. And there's always the chance for weird things. And that's why we need to have these hooks and customizations options. All right. We go back to adding the cage editor now, cage inspector. And let's see, because there we have specifically labeled elements, right? So it looks a little different. What the heck? All right. So cage component has get elements here. So we can do something like let elements equal yeah. So here we already have the problem that I don't entirely know how cages are being handled. Render, no. Dot render cage. Whoop. Render cage options. Is this the right place to unlock? Load puzzle. Render cage. I guess. The question is this off the current ops? Let's find out. First of all, we'll do this. This is the thing we're creating. Props. And then I'm gonna see if I can create one of these guys. So we're gonna pull out this dot props. Then we're gonna add this dot cells. And we probably have props and cells available, right? So we can just do props and cells. Then cage value comes out of props, I'm guessing. This is not a thing, and this comes also out of props. So then we want to look at cage ops and see how they compare and see if that makes sense, right? So these are the properties. Okay, so we do have to parse. But cells is already the parsed version of it. So cells is this. Cage value is undefined, which is because these don't have cage values, right? Unique, true. So the question is, would this work? Let's find out. Let's find out. So here are a function that creates this thing. Will take these options, and instead of doing this, it will do this. And these will actually go in here. Boom. And then we can output underscore elements and compare. Now it won't be the same order of things, but yeah. So if we now look at something with cages with values in them, like these guys, right? So our regular algorithm, which is this code, will get us path text and value background, and our new method will do this. So the difference being that this isn't separated into these three labeled components, but it shouldn't be too hard to do that, should it? So first of all, we can do this. Boom. Right? And then we can get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Do that. Get rid of that. Right? And then all we need to do is relabel them afterwards. So we can do something like text elements dot find let val. So let's just say val should be find lm dot. I'm guessing it's tag node name. Not tag name. No, node name text. That would be our val, which may or may not exist, right? Unlabeled cages and all that. So this path. No, it's going to be path. Yeah, it's going to be path. So val, path, and rect. And the rect will be the background. And that should be it, right? Elements.find is not a thing. Wait a second. I'm an idiot. They're already labeled by something. What are they labeled by? Tag name. So there's a tag name. Show you guys. Path, rect, text. So in this case, I can just use them straight away. I don't even have to do anything fancy. The only fancy thing is I have to find where the hell it is. Yeah. So they're really actually very similar. Val Biggie is rect basically, and this is already the same. So we can do this. And we can do something like path as path, text as val, lm, path as path lm, and rect as val bg lm. So if we do this, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Take this, move it fairly high up here. Boom. And then these things, if val lm, they can be down here. If val lm. If val lm, lm stud val equals whatever up. If path lm, lm stud path, yada yada yada. And if val be G. There is a gnat in my face. I'm worried I'm going to breathe it in. They're tiny. They don't know how to fly very well, apparently. I thought I had evicted them, but they're probably a few generations still in the soil somewhere. All right. So, and that just replaces this code. So we still have to do a little bit here. Yeah, I mean, we could simplify this a little bit. Val be G element. We're destructuring that there. We're reusing the logic from the other algorithm. Okay. All right. Don't know if the order of attributes should have absolutely no bearing here. We're not overriding props, so that should be fine. And that just works now. Sweet. Cool. I didn't think that would actually work this well. But that's exactly it. Like, as I'm learning about these structures, I can sort of streamline what I'm doing and all that. One second, Simon had a question. All right, so now we can switch back to... I wanted to handle hover. Let's do that back in overlay land. So we'll switch back to the overlay inspector. And switching back and forth is actually good because then I won't break one without realizing. So now this thing doesn't have overlays, right? So we can go back here. So we have overlay components. Now I'm gonna figure out if hovering works. So does set hover get called here? Does set hover get called? Interesting. So it is trying to hover the components, but basically apply style just fails, right? Because we don't know how to apply styles. Overlay apply style. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So now if we, okay, first of all, we can get rid of the set hover login that I just added in line 277. Can get rid of that again. Overlay component, overlay inspector. So we're applying the style, which basically just relabels it. And if we're looking at the cage apply style, now the cage apply style has a mechanism for applying styles. Component inspector, overlay set hover, overlays set hover component undefined. Overlays. 1 second. Why is set hover getting called over and over and over? It is being called from put move set hover get input component. Because instead of checking if it's valid here, I'm checking it in there. Okay, fine. Okay. All right, and now we're gonna change these style labels. Overlay inspector, so we have selected and hover. We're just gonna do this, right? Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And now here, we're just gonna output these and think about what I can do with them. So the problem is, what if it doesn't have, like, what if it is only text? Now, I think text usually has a background. Well, let's try something here. Switch style name, case hover, break, case, but no, default. And in the default case, sorry, first in hover, what shall we do? For all elements, elements.for each. I'm just gonna see if I can apply some generic CSS to it, like outline, for example, for each lm.style.outline equals 8px dashed red. Let's say, I don't know, just to see. And then default, we're just gonna remove it. Outline. None. Now, none here is not appropriate, right? Ah, what if we just add a class? Huh. And this would be object.values. Whoa. That went wrong. So, yeah, I can probably just do something like dot class list dot add editor hover, and then class list class list dot remove editor hover editor. Wait. Well. So, what was the other one? Select. Selected. Hover. Selected. So undefined just removes both of them. Failed to execute. Remove. Class list. Elements values 0.class list. Do they not have a class list? Okay. I was sure they had a add and remove. There's a remove here. Okay. Why won't you let me remove? Failed to execute remove. The token provided contains HTML space characters which are not valid in tokens. Okay. I can do this. Okay. So now maybe we can just style it in the style sheet. So for example, dot editor hover. And then we can say things like overlays. So let's say we have overlay dot editor hover. Let's say if it's a rect, we can do something like outline 5px solid or dashed, and then we'll do a what is the style we were using for the cage selection? Where is it? The const somewhere. Ah, here we go. Hover. So that's the color. So if I do this, that's all right. And if we have text without a thing, I don't know if text can have an outline. So I'm worried about like the combination of different things. Like this doesn't have text, right? Okay. Are these not overlays? Yeah. Also, the area for... Why is this not on the list? So it's there. But I cannot... Ooh, that's an odd one. Okay. Let's see if we can find one. Ah, I don't know if these have only text. The thing with text is it's a bit of a mess, as you can see, like because I don't have a cohesion on multiple elements that compose an object, right? I should probably have built groups around them and all that sort of thing, but I don't want to retrospectively do this now. I'm just thinking, is there something smart I can do with text? Maybe just change the font weight or something. So maybe instead of doing this, we can do font weight. Well, heavy. Don't know what the du jour is here. Font weight. Font weight. So if I hover over this, font weight heavy. It's not valid. Strong? No. Bold. Call it weight and then maybe change the font color. The problem with that is then if I later let them change the font color, or in this case make the font bold, it won't work. So there's one where it won't hover on. Interesting. But other than that, I'm actually quite happy with this effect. Okay, there's nothing here. So here we have a whole bunch of... Ooh. Cannot read properties undefined. Okay. We have a failing case here. 568. 568. Elements, undefined, undefined. How the hell does that come about? Undefined, undefined. I'm guessing these are overlay objects. Undefined, undefined. Inspector, component. Create undefined SVG elements. Ah. Find element. Let svg equals from. Then if svg element. So because if find element here returns undefined, it would still Now it shouldn't return undefined though. If equals undefined console. Let's see, that shouldn't really happen. So if it's happening, let's figure out why. By the way, if you see me bouncing, it's because I'm bouncing my leg and my camera's on the monitor and the monitor is attached to an arm and it's kind of springy, so everything's kind of... And I can't really help that. Class list. Apply style names, SVG element undefined. Shoot. So, what if we do length minus all elements.length? That shouldn't be 0, ideally. I don't see it being 0 anywhere. And in fact, if it was 0, so if we're not finding it here, that's a problem. Shoot. Let's make sure we see it. So not found. In this case, what are we not founding? Part creator. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the properties in as a second component, as a second argument just for debugging purposes. So get LM's overlay component, list.props. So this will be props. We're not really using them, but I'm going to pass them in anyways as a debugging aid. So under not found, we have all of this stuff. Okay. And find element fails. So whatever I'm doing to create the object here does not match up with how the importer does it. Ref element. Ref element. Find element. Ref attributes. Yada yada yada. Ooh. So basically I want to find the one that doesn't match. No, wait. In all of them, some don't match, right? So we kind of want to filter them. Filter value equals get attribute. I'm not entirely certain what that's going to look like. Ref attributes. Alright, let's just do this. Yeah, I was afraid this would happen, but it's good that we see it in action. All elements, ref elem. So here we're gonna do ref elem equals elem. Ref elem equals elem. You know what? Maybe we'll just name it ref elem up here. That it's less confusing. Then we can use Elm without problems down the line. Okay, so now we have something here. So it's going through a bunch of objects. Most of them have no matches. Some of them have 6, 19, 20, 16, 14. Okay. So some of them have plenty of matches, right? So let matched attributes. And then we only care about if there's some match, right? If matched attributes dot length is greater than 0. We want to output matched attributes and length. How long are the reference attributes? So reference attributes 21. So this one got really close, but no cigar. Okay. So we kind of want to print out the attributes that aren't matched. So yeah, ref attributes for each. If matched attributes dot includes attribute not, then we're gonna output them. So attr.name, attr.value. So on this one we're not matched, right? And we are not matched relative to, and now it's going to get confusing. So we're looking at reference attribute. Reference attributes, right. So we compare this to element attribute and attribute.name, this particular one. Right, so we have a mismatch on these guys. Okay, so font size 2420, font size 2420, angle 119 minus 90, 2420. So that could be that font size issue that we've had before. Yeah, the font size being different by exactly 4. So I thought we had fixed that, but apparently we have not. So I know that in places the font size is being changed by 4. And I implemented a fix for that, but maybe the fix is, and it's probably happening in more than one place, to be honest. So handle overlay features. Handle overlay features. So this part, this is what I changed yesterday. It'd be nice if I could remove the noise a little, reduce the noise a little bit. What's the best way of doing that? Okay, first of all, I don't care about anywhere most of the... So let's look at the ones where the mismatches are 19. The length of the mismatched list is... Sorry, the length of... greater or equal to 19, right? The ones that match most of them. Secondly, let's silence all this stuff. Well, actually, let's look at this first. So, reference attributes 13. Yeah, okay. But let's have a look. So here we have some matches that are off only by the font size. So I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a match. So then the question becomes, why aren't they matched, right? So these are the properties: font size 20, text text V, not V. Let me just do a quick something stupid here. What if I do +4? Font size number dot font size. Render little killer. It's not what's happening here. So there's 2 places. I can hardly believe that. Anything else we can look at here? So let's look at render text. Render rectangle, render line, render part. No. Render text. So let's just do this. See how many text items there are. 1 second. All right. Thanks for stopping by, Frank. Appreciate it. And that's probably my reminder to actually start thinking about finishing off, because yesterday I was streaming and the dog was here and I was streaming and then the dog went for a walk and I was still streaming when they came back from the walk, and the dog did not like that. My, that wind is really knocking things around. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So okay, so the one that's let me just 564. Let me just 564. I want to get rid of all this spam here. 564. Is it just this one? And overlay component 561. There. Let's just get rid of that spam. It makes it a bit cleaner. Okay. Why do I have more than one here? Okay, so the one that's mismatched is an angle 180. There's only one of those. Angle 180. And it's mismatched on the font size. Okay. So this thing has a font size of 20. Okay. But why does this not trigger render text? It does here. But with font size 24. Okay. So props. So I'm gonna have to print out the props before I render the component. And it's gonna be a bit spammy, because I'm worried about the props getting changed. And here is our low yuppie. So let's see. If I do output only the font size. And we probably don't want to print out new overlay component here so many times either. Hi. All the spamminess. So props.font size is undefined. Props.font size is 20. And in the mismatch, element.getAttribute, it's 24. And our reference, it's 20. Reference. The reference, though, should have gone through the same process of creating the object. This is so nasty. Render text. Handle overlay feature. So let's go all the way to handle overlay feature. And let's just look at the font size right there and see if it's different. So 2020, 2020, and up here, it's 16. That's 16. So it's still getting incremented somewhere to 20, and then it goes from 20 to 24. And I thought font size part +4. So here it's 16, render text. So let's do the same thing in render text. Just output the font size, like, because if I'm outputting an object, it has a kind of it's a reference. So in the log, it might actually be changed. So by the time it gets here, it's 20, which is fine because we're incrementing it. The question is, why does it retrospectively change it in the underlying part? So if I put this here too, will it be changed there? Part.font size 1620. So it's 16 here. But then when we get to here, it's 20. Let's do this. And this. Props.font size 94. So props.font size here. Yeah. And the storm is just raging and raging. So here that part is not getting changed. But by the time we get to here, it is changed. Trying to think. This data comes from handle tool, load state. No, we're looking at the wrong thing here. Load puzzle data. Load puzzle data. Cage component. So let me just load puzzle data. Puzzle. So overlay, puzzle, overlays, yada, yada, yada. 100, the angle is 180. I think that's the one we're looking for. And here, now it's 24. So it got incremented again. Item, overlays console.log, item.font size. Let me see what she says. Item.font size 20, 21, 20, and we want to do item.angle because we can look for that 180 degree one. So item 180 and 20. So by the time it gets to here, the number has changed. So the other question then is, if we go to puzzle, loading, output this, what does the data look like at that stage? I've done something stupid somewhere along the lines where I'm modifying the data. Probably with an object assign or something silly. It's gotta be one of these guys. No, it's not gonna be a crop key. So here we go. Font size 24. So font size here was increased. So, where else are we manipulating font sizes? So we're definitely doing it here. Oh. Ah, come on. No, wait. This should not assign it to part here. It should not. And in fact, we know it doesn't, right? Okay. What else am I doing then with font size? Font size, font size, font size, font size. Font size. So at that point, they're all this. Font size. Font size. Fuck! There it is. Motherfucker. No. Yeah. So, haha. Yes. This is the same bug basically. Found it. We were manipulating the thing and then later on we were trying to use it again. Why did the +4 search find that? That's a bit annoying. I did it in one, but not the next one. God damn it. Part.font size, number.font size. Font size, font size. Does that fix it? I think that fixes it. Awesome. Sweet. Okay, that was a spicy little meatball there. I think I'm getting hungry. Can you tell? Yeah, I need to wind down soon. It's evening, dinner time and all that. All right, next one. 2848. For that. And 2889. All right. So it's just this thing here. Fix puzzle data over. All right, that's a couple of small bugs that exist, and they won't do anything in the current app. But now that I'm actually trying to use the data down the line, it absolutely is doing stuff, causing me problems. All right, 94. Okay, so now these are all being found, and we probably really want to have sort of a serious error message here. GL not found. Found. Okay, and then all of this we can just get rid of now. Okay, so now we have our effect on these guys, not on these guys. Are these overlays? I'm not sure. Overlays. They are. I'm a little worried that the angle thing here is screwing with it. With the bounding box calculation. I hope that's not the case. So if I look at this one and then hover over it, does this change the class? No, it does not. That's a little scary. So the bounding box probably does not take the transform into consideration. It's the same complexities over and over and over. All right, so RC hit test. No, yeah. RC hit test. Overlay component, RC hit test here. So get bounding box. I don't remember if there's a way around it. SVG, transform. Keep on both accounting for its transform. Sudo unwrap child. Unwrap the child node, wrap in group, unwrap group, parent node, append. Oh my god, what? Do with math. Good work on this. To wrap the SVG element in a group and then call get bounding box on the new group. Bounding box coordinates you need are always relative to the transform of the element you want to use the coordinates in. You want to add another group. Put the text coordinates and the vector coordinates in that new group. The bounding box of the element again. Take these coordinates outside E1, 2, 3. The coordinates will be off by that transform. Therefore, you need to take the bounding box of your element in question from space and transform them to coordinates appropriate to your target element. Take the coordinates of the So, note that it doesn't work when you just execute bounding grammar. Oh my god. Relative from space to transform if SVG prototype get transform from to element. Ouch, this looks complicated. Does this work? Bounding box relative to element, bounding box relative to parent. So it's going to rotate for rotated ellipses. Works okay for rectangles, but on ellipses returns a bounding box larger than the object it's rotated. Simple if using built-in JavaScript function isn't very useful to me. Translator, oh my god. Tend to handle skew and scale by storing an entirely new ellipse with the skew and scale applied. Oh my god, this is all fairly complex. I mean, in our case, probably something like this might work. So wrap in group, creates a group, group append child, return group. So it wraps it in the group, getting the bounding box off. If you don't want to do with math, a good workaround is to wrap the SVG element in a group, then call getBound on the new group. Let's try that. Let's just try it. Trying it's probably faster than trying to understand it. I'm gonna clean it up afterwards if it actually works. So get bounding box turn transform into account. So let's see. Get BB box. All right, let box BB box 2 equals if let's just see if that just breaks immediately or even returns anything. Okay. To string. I don't know if they stringify neatly. Probably not. Because if they're always the same, then it's not actually doing anything for us. Let's see. So they're all true, which implies to me that this element, that this doesn't work. Is hit false, true. That's right. It means that this is giving us the exact same bounding box as just applying this directly. Child, parent, append, child. So, wrap in element, creating a group. We're taking the parent of the element, attaching the group to it. So that doesn't seem to work. Don't think this works. Then call bounding box on the new group. Unwrap child. You can unwrap the child node. Return bounding box. Element of remove. Child element of children. I mean, it probably makes sense just to do this. All right, let's convert the text now. I'll feel less icky. So element, blah blah blah, group.append child element. Don't need that. Backlit bounding box, and then unwrapping. The child is just our element. And then the element would be the group. So group.parent node and child element and group.remove. And that's the unwrapping. We don't need these. And we can also do this bbox1 element.bbox. One last thing I'm going to do is actually output these strings, because maybe I'm just comparing, like maybe the JSON of this doesn't actually contain the numbers, and maybe that's why they all look the same. I didn't even consider that, or I considered it, but then I forgot about it and didn't check on it. Yeah, that's why they're the same. God damn it. All right. So we can just stringify them like that. We probably want to look at a couple of those properties then, right? So x, y with, I mean, there's only 4 properties, right? So bbbox.x equals bbbox.y.x. And do it this way around. And like that. right? False, false. False, true. False, false. So on some of them it comes back false. Trying to think what we're looking for. We're looking for when it comes back false. False, true. False, false. Okay. So what if we just do this then? This one, this one, this one. Yeah, not this one. This one. This one. But this one is not working. So the 180-degree transform on this guy is not working. That is if not is equal. So we're only going to output them when they don't match. Oop. What if not is equal? Is equal is true and this matches and this matches and this matches and this matches. I thought we just established that these are not all matching. What gives, buddy? What gives? What's going on here? This isn't firing at all now. Is hit is equal equals true and yada yada yada. Is there something happening and it's not outputting an error? Maybe the console broke. Oh, I'm not in the editor tool. I'm such an idiot. Oh man, that happens too often. That just happens too often. So is hit false, false, is hit false. So this is only being logged when there's a so is hit in this case should be true, shouldn't it? Oh, because I'm going through all the elements, right? The problem is obviously that for most elements, so I'll be getting, like, even if there's only one or two where these two disagree, they'll disagree over and over and over. Like, I need to kind of have a more controlled thing of this. In fact, wait a second. What elements is it? Oh, it's looping through the elements on this component. Okay. False, false, false. Yeah, okay. Now, obviously, this is always false. Because I'm only outputting it when it is false, right? This.props. I need to output something more useful. This is currently just flooding my brain. So it's basically all the ones with the rotated angles. Where they're different. The question is... here we have a hit. Let's do this. Info. Overlay component RC hit test. RC. RC. So we have some kind of, you know, separator. All right. If not is equal and not is hit. So now we should... okay. Now this one, we neither have a hit nor an equality, but on this one, it's not equal. It's not equal, but we're getting a hit on this guy. Or are we? Off and on, off and on. It kind of changes. Shouldn't we be getting a hit from at least the other elements? I want to output these as well. So if I go here, what are we getting here? We have a rectangle and a feature and a text. It is not hit checking. It is not giving us a positive hit test on this thing here. The problem is I'm not even sure how am I checking that we're looking at this particular thing. So this one works. This one works. This one works. This 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 works, this works, this works. This does not. All right, let's reduce the spam. We need to get a bit of insight here. So we're only going to output anything if we are on the right component, and we detect the right component by checking that props.angle is equal to 180. So if props dot if this E B3 and B6. Ah, you're right. This would be the 180. And this would be not rotated. Then why the hell does this one not work? That makes it even weirder. What the hell? But well spotted, and my brain, I'm past my brain hours. Let's check only the V's. If this dot props dot text equals V, and this is a capital V, right? Then we log the console, and we're also logging this thing. So is hit is Q. Thanks, that was actually a really good insight. You know what? I'm gonna change this to be on mouse down instead of input mouse move. So input down. If I do this, and then get rid of that, I can click here. Whoa, okay. Handle input down. Good question. Let's see. False, 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 false. True, 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 true. Wait a second. So we get a true, true here. On this one. Wait. Okay. Okay. No. We are getting an is hit true. What? So we are getting an is hit true. Well, isn't that a bit of an annoyance? Apply style, overlay component, apply style. Apply style. But we don't get an apply style here, even though is hit comes back true. What the frick? Okay. Focus. This should be straightforward, right? So is hit comes true. We're returning is true. This was called from set hover or whatever. So handle input down on. So we're not doing this. We're not doing cage component is hit test, right? We're doing set hover here. We're calling get input component. This one finds the one with the RC hit test being true. Right. Okay, clear. Click. Get input component. Called from handle input down. Handle input down. Get input component. So let input comp equals. What's going on here? So get input component. It runs through all of this. Wait, component inspector. Handle input down is this. Then it calls get input component here. Oh yeah, okay. So we're getting a component here, namely the overlay component. Okay, then we're calling it again. So we should be getting the same component here. So let's go one level up. So that should call set hover. The heck? I think the problem is something completely different. But it calls it on the wrong component. Set hover component, overlay components. Current style selected. What? Set hover component. Oh my god, I think the selection and the hovering is interfering with each other. So let's just, no, we're not on the cage inspector. Overlay inspector, we're not doing input down. Component inspector. Set selected should not be executing at all, right? Oh god, I think I know what's going on. I think when I'm adding component, oh my god, I'm so stupid. What's happening is when I'm adding component, I'm selecting them. And this component is selected, but I haven't implemented a selection style yet. So because it was selected, selected components don't get a hover style. Ah! Oh man, that's so stupid. So I'm pretty sure all of this is actually working. Ugh, I've never been so unhappy about things working before. And if I would have only implemented a quick throwaway selected style, then we would have seen it immediately. So all we needed to do was look at... Ow. Oh. That was painful. I think this is the first time I've run the battery down on these headphones. That was annoyingly painful. Okay, so... we just have to quickly find the styles for reference, right? Then we're gonna grab out the selected color, which is without the transparency. Right? And the selection is wider or narrower than the hover? I think the hover is wider. Yeah. So we're gonna make the selected outline 4 and the hover outline 6. Okay. And I think selection just isn't implemented at all right now on this component. My god, this storm is getting me worried. Because I think currently selection is implemented in the cage inspector, not in the... Yeah, it's basically this part. But basic selection we should be able to do in the component inspector, right? So let's put that there for a second. Okay. Let's get input cell. No. Here we don't want to actually deal with this. So if hover set selected. So if we're hovering, and hovering is different than selected, set hover selected, update inspector. Ah, I guess this works. And obviously we don't have a concept of cells here. Oh, illegal return statement. Handle input. Oh, okay. Handle input down. What? How does adding this? Did I delete something down here that I shouldn't have deleted? Because nothing works anymore. Did I just delete something there? Alright, the storm is getting worse, and I'm gonna have to deal with that. Because I have the windows open a little bit to reduce the noise, but now things are moving in here. Things outside are already banging around. I just want to... man, I just want to finish this. I don't want to leave it like this. Did I just shortcut of the butt of this class. No, I did not. So why the heck does our basic stuff not work anymore? Did I change something elsewhere? Component inspector. So handle input move should get called from the editor here in forward event, right? Oh, I'm not on the editor again. God damn it. Every time it gets me. Okay. Oh man, I need to do something about that because that's cost me time so many times. And if I'm get tired in the evening, yeah. Man, how annoying. All right, so hover, select. All right, that actually works now. Let's clean up that mess down here. 602. So that should be. So this should really travel up the hierarchy. I'm going to move it into helpers for now. Okay. Just align it with our general nomenclature here. And 5, 5. And then we don't need this anymore. And we don't need that anymore. And then we want to clean that up. 5, 6, 4. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So now I can just go here, 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 here. Okay. Man, this is scary. That works, that works. That is not, that's a line. That is an underlay, I believe. I hope. Otherwise, some things aren't quite working right. And these should also work now. The selection boxes here are a bit odd. Whoops. But for our purposes, it's good enough, I think. And that way, with the hover effect here, we can immediately see, ah, yeah, that's the thing, and that's the other thing. All right. Oh, all right. At least we've cracked it in the end, even though I've been chasing my tail for a while now. Whoops. Hey, Mark, how you doing? I didn't hear you come in. Okay. Now, I don't think I have the mechanism in place yet from switching from one inspector to the other. So I think that's probably something, whoops, I should do next time, is to get, you know, bring back support for multiple inspectors. Let's just switch back to the cage inspector and make sure that's still working. I'm going to make it bigger because you guys probably don't see anything there. So that's still working. It's still editable, right? And if I switch back to the overlay inspector, yeah, we have these guys working. And I should, oh. Why am I not handling these keys properly? Okay, now I can use the cursor keys. Yeah, probably because if I click here, Okay, I have to see what's going on there. But basically, we don't want selected cells to come through. I press Control A. Yeah. That's probably what's happening. And now it seems okay. That's a minor issue. This works now. The hovering works. And now this is quite generic. So adding additional tool handlers, that should just work. All right, let's clean it up. Make sure it's all saved and committed and all that. I don't think we have too much spam going on. Or a little bit. Don't detach element. Detach element. Don't know. Okay, that doesn't really need to be logged out. Doesn't really need to be logged. Logged? Yeah, logged. Console logged. Sure. All right. So next step is to make these, you know, to edit the properties on all this stuff. So let's actually put that in here. So component inspector, cage inspector, overlay, inspector. We need to add properties. And the properties are position, size, excuse me, itchy nose, border color, background color, text, and I think that's it, right? So position, width, height, yes, and shape. Edit. And I think that's it for, oh, and font size. Font size. Cool. So then we can add those to the editor here, step 1, and then step 2 would be to maybe add some mouse handles or something, or dragging. I'd like to be able to drag the object around, right? Yeah, I think I should be able to just click, group, and then place it where I want it to go. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hey Mark, how are you doing? Managed to make some good progress actually. Now the overlay editor is actually starting to look like it's actually gonna happen. Yesterday it looked a total mess. So editor, hover, and selection styles, hover mechanic. Because it's now generalized to the component level. Sweet. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it as always. Remember the usual. Patreon.svencodes.com, Twitter.svencodes.com, and here is Toby. Hey, Toby. All right, that's my cue. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Appreciate it. Take care. See you tomorrow.